Ladies and gentlemen, it is official. Share this segment everywhere and hit subscribe to this channel. New York Times, about 45 minutes ago, likelihood of Trump indictment in Manhattan fades. As grand jury wraps up, the Manhattan District Attorney is continuing to investigate Donald J. Trump, but knowledgeable people say charges are unlikely to occur in the foreseeable future, if ever. When the New York Times is admitting this, that means never, ever. It will not happen because he didn't commit a crime. Okay, I'm going to say this very slowly. For wonderful, highly educated, really beautiful, morally superior, but oftentimes apoplectic liberal Democrats who save the planet and the world from mean people and authoritarians, but can't possibly stand Twitter for 2 days if the algorithm changes to allow people to actually speak their mind. Trump did not commit crimes. Okay? Now, I want a Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump 2024 rematch. That's what I pray for every day. You might think I'm nuts. That's not being facetious. You might say, well, you've lost your mind. But we live still in 2016. I want the country to get it out of our system, a rematch, and let the best candidate win. Okay. That being said, Madam Secretary did commit crimes. When Clinton had servers with top secret and special access program intelligence and top secret data on servers connected to cell phones as she was flying to different countries that were known to obtain information from adversaries or from other dignitaries or leaders. Okay, this is a huge national security crisis to have top secret data, special access program intelligence on private servers outside of the United States government. James Comey went to bat, covered it up, and said, there was no crime there was no intent. Inherent in owning private servers is the intent to commit a crime, to hide your information. So nobody, not the National Security Agency or the Central Intelligence Agency or the Federal Bureau of Investigation or anyone has access to those emails. Plus, there were 30,000 deleted emails that they convinced people weren't the big issue, but the big issue was that Trump asked another country to find out about those deleted emails. So it's always this sleight of hand. It's always this illusion. Oh, it's another country's interfering by telling you how bad we are and how corrupt we are. Hunter's emails are the work of another country, so therefore, well, a whole bunch of intelligence officials signed the document, so we can't talk about it on Twitter or anywhere else. Oops, 2 years later, it's an actual legitimate story. Okay. Wow, how did that happen? Oh, maybe because these algorithms favor Democrats. But anyway, they had nothing. He did not commit a crime. The man did not commit a crime. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel below in the pinned comment. I have a very important segment. Read my article in the Federalist on the stock market crash, the terrible economy that I predicted in October of last year, and the crash, the slow moving, basically collapse that we're seeing. And unfortunately, we're going to see a stock market crash of epic proportions. Well, just today is another example, down almost 1,000. So it was the whole thing. I predicted all of this, okay. But anyway, read that article in the Federalist in October of 2021. Nobody was talking about the things that I was talking about in that article. It's in the pinned comment. He didn't commit a crime. You could read also my other writing in the Federalist talking about the crimes committed against Trump. The man did not commit a crime. He did not commit a crime. It's not difficult to understand. He did not commit a crime. That's why, when they investigated Trump, they had nothing on him, but the mere act of investigating is intimidation. That's why Democrats were going to investigate this, we're going to investigate that. We're suspicious of you. But you can't level suspicion against them. So what they do is, because they're the epicenter of corruption, Democrats, you can look with private servers, with emails, Hunter's emails showing pay-to-play schemes, the foundation pay-to-play schemes, Uranium One deals, all of these things. These are like legitimate like scandals and legitimate you should investigate these absurd, very bizarre controversies where 20% of U.S. uranium capacity is given to the same country or is allowed to be purchased or acquired by the same country we're sanctioning now. Does that make any sense to you? But it does to Democrats. Oh, it's just a commodity. That's what they say. And now all these commodities, including uranium, are through the roof now in price. Inflation is through the roof. I mean, I talked about this last October. I have a stock market crash channel for a reason. Please hit subscribe there. I had a satirical and comedic channel. I might just do something different with that channel. I don't know what didn't really catch on, or people enjoyed it, but I don't know. Especially now, I mean, he's not the one chance they had to indict Trump. The one chance they had was on a state level. Because on a state level, if he broke any laws, state laws, let's say he became president, the federal government couldn't stop any investigation. So in 2024, he regains the Oval Office, a state probe, the federal government couldn't stop that. Also, there was more they could do on the state level than even at the federal level pertaining to Trump, because a lot of the federal accusations point right back to the federal government trying to set up or frame Trump, or the interaction that Ted Cruz had with an FBI official. And we'll leave it at that. But he did not elevate the net worth. He didn't elevate his holdings, his business holdings. He didn't elevate the valuation of his real estate. He didn't inflate his net worth, which is the most absurd accusation. If Deutsche Bank or any bank looks at Trump, they're going to look at Trump. They're going to give loans to Trump, like $2 billion they've given to him, other banks too. It's going to be different than you or I or the wonderful, morally superior liberal Democrat who applies for a mortgage or whatever. It's going to be very different from the average American and Trump. He's built a brand, and he's when he negotiates to obtain loans, or he purchases property or owns property in Manhattan or around the world, or especially in New York, you're talking about the most expensive real estate in the world. You're talking about billionaires in New York and banks throughout the world who know exactly how to make money. And no offense to prosecutors in New York who are city employees, they're getting paid by the city. Okay, and the city employees are wonderful. That's beautiful, but they're not real estate moguls or billionaires who understand how to finance a major property or hotel. They're trying to get him on things that he didn't do. They have his tax returns. The Internal Revenue Service would have already stated years back that he was doing something shady. They literally had nothing on Trump, and they had to basically recreate 20, 30 years of suspicion with the Clintons into 5 years with Trump. But they couldn't find anything. The thing is, he didn't commit a crime. This is going to be very difficult for apoplectic, oftentimes hysterical, but always highly educated and super moral. That's the thing, is they're so moral, liberal Democrats to understand. They're so focused on systemic injustices, and they're completely oblivious to inflation through the roof. It's a tax upon the poor. It's a tax upon people struggling to pay bills. Inflation is. Real wages have decreased 2.7 to 3%. It's only going to get worse. The systemic injustices that Democrats claim to go up against and battle are getting worse under Democrats. And the only thing they really care about is indicting Trump, and they can't do it. So the Democratic Party is a completely failed political party. They talk about morality, they engage in the most immoral acts and the most unethical behavior, and they still found nothing on Trump. And all they can focus on is Trump's mean tweets and how mean he is, while they try everything possible to go after him and insult him. You could just rewind the clock back to his inaugural, What did Madonna say? What did everyone say? All of it vicious and vile things. They started from day one, and they were poking the bear. They knew they were poking him. They wanted the response, and they could say, oh, he's so mean, and they set him up and framed him. The Durham Probe Special Counsel is finding this out. We already knew this, and I wrote about this in 2019 in The Federalist. Governments set up Trump. The state governments wanted to go after Trump. They can't find anything. Now you're going to get payback with Trump Republicans in the House of Representatives and the Senate, and they will find things because you have actual corruption. Hunter's emails are clear violations of the law. You don't have emails with Kushner or Eric Trump Jr. or Donald Trump or Eric Trump or Donald Trump Jr. You don't have, Trump couldn't get away with like 1/10 of the things they get away with. Give me your thoughts. And they won't have Twitter to hide behind. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe. Share this every